Well, welcome everybody to Monday Night Live. Big Picture Live is on the air. Tonight, we got a bunch of stuff to cover, but one of the biggest things we're going to cover tonight is martial law almost in place. Are they coming after you? Are they coming after me? Well, I'm going to show you tonight, in many ways, the answer to that question is yes. But we're not afraid. Bring it on. Let's do this thing. Big Picture Live. Let's go. All right, I'm going to bring in the queen right now. There she is. There she is. There she is. She's coming in. She's coming in. Why is she not coming in? There she is. There she is.
She's here.
She's here.
Woo!
Yes, they always love you, Sandy. They always love you.
And I love them, and it's great to be back. And TGIM.
TGIM, baby.
Thank God it's Monday.
Thank God it's Monday. You know, I've been saying that for years.
I'm goofy, right?
I used to do a series every year called TGIM.
Yeah, you sure did. Well, the voice is a little scratchy. Time of the year.
It's all right. And
too bad. Deal with it.
And just so you know, we've had a lot of technical difficulties. We're moving the studio around.
No, you're
and getting ready to build our new TV studio. So we got a lot of stuff going on, y'all. And
But we're thanking God that you're here with us to help us go through it. And we're thanking God for this wonderful and delicious.
Notice how it blends into the background so beautifully as well.
Yum, yum.
So if you hadn't already smashed that like button, let's go ahead and get it over with tonight. So all you got to do is just think about the rest of the night and just go ahead and enjoy the news, the wonderful, glorious, good news.
That's right.
Because it's all good, right? It's all good because ultimately we know who our faith is in.
It's all the news you may or may not want to hear.
Exactly, in one place. But you've come to trust the big picture. We're going to tell you the truth.
Right.
So
if nothing else, you can hang out with friends.
Yes. And real quick to our Rumble family, thank you for being with us tonight. If you're not already a part of our Rumble family, you don't have to leave YouTube. Just go over there and make sure that you're subscribed in case we need to go there. In fact, we're going to be going there because pretty soon we're going to start having some shows where we talk about some really, really sensitive stuff that we can't cover on YT. So we will end the program here and finish some things over on the other platform.
Do you mean controversial?
Controversial
things. Do you
things.
mean conspiratorial?
Yes, all of the above.
It's my favorite.
Yes, we know.
Favorite.
We know, baby. We know
hey,
that you like.
Line. Good to see you tonight.
All right, so let's get right into the news tonight. You know, we talk a lot about what's going on in Israel. This week, Biden has drawn a red line for Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. He says no Israeli attack on Rafah. And I'm going to show you the response of Benjamin Netanyahu.
This is going to be good.
Yeah, President Biden over the weekend drew a red line for Israel, warning against an attack on the city of Rafah in the Gaza Strip. In a Saturday interview with MSNBC, the president offered his harshest criticism to date of the Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, saying the Israeli leader is, quote, hurting Israel more than helping Israel in how he has conducted the war against the Palestinian terror group Hamas in Gaza. Mr. Biden said Israel must take greater care to protect civilians in Gaza. He also made it clear that an Israeli attack on Rafah would be unacceptable. He said it is a red line when asked about a potential Israeli military assault on the city. But I'm never going to leave Israel. Yeah, okay. Sounds good, but it sounds like you have. The defense of Israel is still critical, blah, 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 blah. Well.
You think he was feeling strong coming off that address?
I think the cocktail wore off. Did I just say that? I did. Yeah.
That State of the Union. He was so strong, right?
So strong.
Just feeling strong.
It was a win.
It was a win.
I've heard many Democrats admit that it was a win because it proved that he is still able to stand there for an hour. And we're not making fun, but I guess somewhat we are, but in the sense that we're a country that literally, from everything they're saying, they're going to run this person again. More and more and more they're saying, I don't personally believe it, but more and more they're saying he's not going to be replaced. That he is actually going to run against Donald Trump. We'll see.
So we'll see about that. So again, what did Benjamin
Netanyahu came back and had an interview where he just basically said, listen, we love America, but pound sand. Because it's not happening. We don't take our orders from America. Right. And one of the things that he addressed in a video clip that I saw was he said that Biden had said that the majority of Israeli citizens were not behind his actions. And he made it very, very clear. Poll after poll after poll shows the majority of Jewish citizens are behind what they're doing to finish the job. So whether one's true or not, the bottom line is this: Israel is trying to negotiate a ceasefire, trying to get names of Israeli hostages. They will not reveal the names of the hostages, which we know, we covered last week, that's probably got a bad ending there.
Yep.
So, yeah, it is what it is, and it's only going to escalate. It's not going backwards. It's not going to settle down. It's going to escalate because you got Hezbollah up north. And the bottom line is this: not only is Israel going to go after Hezbollah and do that, but I think the Iranian people and the Iranian government and all the terrorists there realize this is it. This is their best shot at wiping out Israel because I think they're scared to death of Trump becoming president.
Yeah, they probably are. I mean, the Houthis are certainly staying busy and a lot of things going on. But so here you say, I think it's only going to escalate from here. How much more? I probably
a lot more.
Probably shouldn't ask that question.
A lot more escalation could happen.
Terrible.
A lot more. All right. So I'm going to mute you. Clear your throat, baby. All right. All right, here we go.
I don't know if it can be cleared.
Okay.
It's just that time of year.
Okay.
Pollens.
You know, you ask the Lord sometimes. You're just like, when it comes to cockroaches, you're like, why? Then it comes to pollen and allergies, you're like, why? And then you realize they have to have pollen to pollinate.
That's right.
Part of the process.
That's right.
All right, so let's continue in the news. This is a big deal here, what's happening down in Haiti.
Yes.
This is tragic. Haitians are shot dead in the street, and there's no one to take the corpses away, according to this story. In Port-au-Prince, Haiti, on a ride through the gang-controlled streets of Haiti capital on Friday, past an improvised barricade, the motorcade had reached a crossroad. And, of course, it talks about the horrible smell of the corpses.
Sure.
And this article goes on to explain that there's just bodies laying everywhere, and some of them, Sandy, I saw one that said something like 21 bodies. Some of them were taken and cremated, and others, and this is horrible to say this, but were fed to pigs, were fed to other animals, and it's just...
Were there anything about dogs roving?
Dogs roving. Some of the dogs consumed.
To consume the... I mean, my goodness.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
In the year 2024, did anybody out there ever think you would be hearing stories like this?
No.
Like, the government has collapsed to the point that we can't even get anybody to retrieve the dead bodies, the people that have been killed, the people that have been murdered, whatever. Certainly, they're on the verge of starving.
Yeah.
I'm even hearing people say they're on the verge of cannibalism.
No, not on the verge. They are.
Okay.
And in fact, the gang that has taken over Haiti is a cannibal gang. And the main guy that you know what they call him? This is horrible to say. They call him Barbecue.
Wow.
That's his name. He's now the most powerful person in Haiti, and he is the leader of a cannibalistic gang.
So does any of the religions play into that? Is Santeria, do they practice cannibalism in Santeria?
Well, I don't know, but I can tell you that's the most voodoo-ridden, demonic-ridden nation there is. And for so long, it was known as the poorest nation in the world.
Right.
And now there's basically no government. The U.S. Embassy, let's fire this up here, the U.S. Embassy was completely evacuated as well. So United States citizens are getting out.
So are they just now evacuating that embassy, or has that happened already?
On Sunday, the United States military announced that it carried out an operation in Haiti to evacuate select staff from the country due to rising violence, which also deploying extra forces to enhance the security around the U.S. Embassy in the capital city of Port-au-Prince. According to a statement released by the U.S. Southern Command, the airlift of personnel into and out of the embassy is consistent with our standard practices. Our embassy remains focused on advancing U.S. government efforts. You know, all of it is just a blah, blah, blah. But
does that not concern you? I'm sure we had protections at the embassy, but my goodness, why did we wait so long to clear our embassy out? I mean,
we're talking about the government here.
I don't know, because it's not like we just got to this point and this degree in the last couple of days. This has been building over, time. I don't know how much time, but I just don't understand why things have to wait till almost the last available moment.
Yeah, but that seems to be the pattern that usually
Exactly.
happens. It usually does happen that way.
Yeah,
But
Afghanistan,
I want to
maybe.
go. Exactly. I want to go back to this here. Jimmy Cherizier, also known as Barbecue, who is a former police officer and is now leading numerous gangs, acknowledged his role in recent events. He stated his primary objective was to block Prime Minister Mr. Henry's return to Haiti. Last Sunday, armed gangs stormed 3 police stations and 2 prisons, facilitating the escape of almost 4,000 prisoners from the facility. Following their escape, a state of emergency was declared. Haiti currently holds the State Department's most severe travel warning, labeled Level 4, Do Not Travel, the most intense there is. Now, here's the alarming part for Americans and other people around the world. All of this that's going on with border crisis here in our country and abroad, many of the Haitians that are fleeing and even the prisoners that escaped from the prison, many people are saying are making their way to the southern border of the United States.
Well, that was going to be my question. Is have you heard, are you reading any articles where people are concerned about, the worst of the worst in this country trying to make their way here?
Yes. I mean, I've seen several people confirm, not just worry, but confirm that it is happening, that they are on their way. And then we're talking about some of these are believed to be from solitary confinement. Some of these, what we would consider death row. I mean, these are some very, very serious criminals.
Dangerous criminals, yes.
Yeah, that are going to be coming across our southern border and, quite frankly, some borders in other countries around the world. Sandy, we don't have a news article to fire up here, but it was just revealed this week that not only do we have just an invasion happening at the southern border, but hundreds of thousands of people, it was confirmed by the government, flew into the country.
Yes.
Not across the border. Mm-mm. They were flown into the country and then dropped off at the airports.
I've been hearing this for a long time. Yeah. I think the number was 320,000 on that one story.
It was 320,000. And they're just released in the airports. They're not even crossing the border. They're coming in on planes over the border, over states, landing in certain airports and being released into the airport.
How many weeks ago was it that the reporter found out that people were, getting off planes from who knows where, taken to a separate part of the airport where they stayed, where they slept and stayed until...
And they were barred. They wouldn't even let them film it.
Very hostile. No, you can't come back here. You can't bring your camera. You can't be back here. So, it's just a moving, a housing, a distributing of people all over the country, putting them out into cities.
Yeah. Oh, but hey, we're taking care of the border of Ukraine.
Yeah.
This is another little story about Ukraine here, and this is pretty concerning as well. Russia, this is, of all places, CNN. So if CNN's saying this, y'all...
It's over.
It's over. Russia is producing 3 times more artillery shells than the United States and Europe for Ukraine. Okay, think about all the money we've sent over there, but listen to this article. Russia appears on track to produce nearly 3 times more artillery munitions than the U.S. and Europe, a key advantage ahead of what is expected to be another Russian offensive in Ukraine later this year. Russia is producing about 250,000 artillery munitions per month and about 3 million a year, according to NATO intelligence estimates of Russian defense production shared with CNN. And it says the U.S. and Europe have a capacity to generate only 1.2 million munitions annually to send to Kiev. The U.S. military set a goal to produce 100,000 rounds of artillery a month by the end of 2025, less than half of the Russian monthly output. And even that number is now out of reach with $60 billion in Ukraine funding stalled in Congress. What are we to do now? What are we now in production? We're now in a production war. The outcome in Ukraine depends on how each side is equipped to conduct this war. Officials said Russia is currently firing around 10,000 shells a day, compared to just 2,000 a day from the Ukrainian side.
Yeah. And this is going on while we continue to provoke or help provoke Russia.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So this is really not a good plan.
Yeah.
My opinion doesn't look very good for us. And I shouldn't be laughing right now, but I guess I'm laughing to keep from crying.
Yes.
Because it really makes me nervous. As I'm sure many of you out there listening to this, it makes you very uneasy as well.
Especially, NATO was added to this week. Sweden came in NATO. Now there's talks of, they're still going to try to get Ukraine in. And, I know we don't bow to the will of Putin, but that's been his red line. He's basically said, you don't put Ukraine in NATO, because if you do that, then that's a whole nother level of escalation.
Yep.
And but they're bound and determined to do it, and bound and determined to supposedly win this war at any cost. And speaking of cost, as this article we just read said, that there was a huge stall happening in the Republican House side because they did not want to provide this money. Remember, they tried to sneak it in the so-called border bill.
Yep.
That's all we heard about in the State of the Union. Give me the border bill so that I can shut down the border. Mm-hmm. Oh, please. Come on, you can shut down the border right now. You don't need another dime. But that was all the talking point. But really what it was, remember, 75% of the money was going to Ukraine.
Yes.
It not to the border. And so when that died, then they got to try to find another way to get that money. And now that's stalled. But listen, you want to get mad? Y'all ready to get mad? Here we go. Y'all ready for your blood to boil? Look at this. This is how determined they are to take your money, no matter what happens, and send it to Ukraine.
Come on.
The Biden White House is considering siphoning $200 million from the cash-strapped army, our army, to fund Ukraine. With war funding for Ukraine, Israel, and Taiwan, and a smattering of other nations delayed in the House of Representatives, the Biden administration is looking into redirecting $200 million worth of funding from the United States Army to a desperate Ukraine. I want you to listen to the wording of this. Yeah. This infuriated me when I read this. It goes on to say, a report from Bloomberg, quote, debate over utilizing a small amount of Pentagon reserves. $200 million, I know in the grand scheme of American budget is not a lot of money, but it's still $200 million.
Exactly.
All right, but watch this. Small amount of Pentagon reserves underscores the furious effort at the White House to find any possible support for Ukraine. It's like a religion now. But the possible funding is minuscule compared to the more than $61 billion in Ukraine assistance Joe Biden has asked Congress to authorize. Now listen, a senior Army official, listen to this, Sandy, explained the veracity of the situation to CNN last month. Quote, if we don't get a base budget, if we don't get Ukraine's supplemental funding package, if the government shuts down, if we get nothing else and nothing changes from today, we will run out of operations and maintenance funding in May. We would cease to exist if these funds were not allocated from elsewhere within the Army's budget. I have a question for you, Sandy. Are we at war with Ukraine? Because it sounded just like we're at war with Ukraine.
Some strange new language there, right? Man, that's a good way of putting it. I can't fully answer that question for you, but my question is, what is that running tab that we have going on funds sent?
Well, it's over 100 and something billion already, and they want another 91 billion. But it's just interesting to me. They keep saying if Ukraine doesn't win this war, we're going to be pulled into this war. Okay, we know we've been funding billions and billions of dollars while our people are battling inflation.
Yes.
They're losing their jobs. They can't pay their rent. Our veterans are on the street, homeless, or committing that's another word for you. Can't. How silly is it that I cannot say on this platform that our veterans are leaving this world?
Yes.
Well, I can't say that word because I say that word, you get flagged. You can say all kinds of other mess. Don't get me started. But what I'm trying to say is this. And now you have an Army official saying, kept saying we. If we don't get our funding, we're out of business. We can't win this thing. We. It's not we. It's not we. We are Americans.
Yes.
You are wherever you're watching in the world. You are that. You are not in that war. Now, I understand that NATO is a part of this, but it's now being confirmed. They're slipping up and saying the quiet thing out loud that NATO forces are on the ground and that people are fighting because there's not enough Ukrainian soldiers left. Saying this war pretty much is over.
It feels like it's been over for a while. So February was 2 years. Is that correct?
I don't even remember.
I think it was February 2022 when it started. I mean, time goes by so fast and so many things happen in between that it's hard to keep up. But yeah, I think we are right at it. If we're not already, we're at the door of 2 years. So
Goes on to say, an Army Secretary Christine Warmoth told CNN she expects the Army would, quote, have to sort of rob Peter to pay Paul. Listen to these words from our military. Every incremental dollar I have, it's very important where I put that dollar. And I'm constantly choosing between, do we put it on barracks? Do I put it on enlistment incentives? Do I put it on exercises? Do I put it on modernization? I don't have spare cash to be just sort of donating to some of that. This was money that we anticipated to be replenished, obviously, by the supplemental. So she's going on to say, yeah, we were all in support of the administration. Give them that money. But we're going to pass a bill and print a bunch of more dollars, and then we'll just get that money back. Well, the House of Representatives said, no, we're not supporting this. So their little plan's all messed up, and now everybody's mad.
yeah,
Including the military. They're like, we don't want to give away our money now. We were on board when we thought we was going to get it back.
it's not going to be replenished. What does that leave us? Yeah,
Exactly.
Of course they should. They should be extremely angry. I mean, this is beyond ridiculous.
It is beyond ridiculous.
So,
Do you know what's not beyond ridiculous? Our amazing partners.
yeah,
We love you so much. The crowd is going wild for you. Those that support the ministry, those that support our show and all that we're doing,
Right.
you guys are amazing. We love you, we love you, we love you. And if you want to become a partner, you can become a $5 a month partner by simply clicking the join button down
Yes.
below on YouTube. Or you can go to our website. We'll tell you about that more a little bit later in the program, how you can become a partner to help us with our television program. So this is a YouTube show, but we also have a television program that's on DirecTV. It's going to be all over the world. It is all over the world, and it is just incredible what the Lord is doing.
It is.
And you can be a part of that.
you guys are keeping this operation going.
You better believe it.
Appreciate you for it.
Now, one of the things that we said back in June of last year is that we would be at some type of war and military conflict with China in 2024. And there's so much going on. People just sort of letting that slide up under the radar.
Yes, I'm letting it slide because I don't want to deal with it.
Don't let it slide, Sandy.
I don't want to deal with it mentally. I mean,
You got to deal with it.
that's crazy.
Well, let's deal with it now. I'm sorry. China is actively preparing for war with the United States. At a time when their economy is really struggling, the Chinese are increasing military spending and ramping up preparations for war. But who is China preparing to fight a war with? Needless to say, the answer to the question is obvious. Yes, the border dispute between India and China could erupt into something significant, but that is not likely. The only other opponent that the Chinese would be fighting a war with would be the United States. And right now, Chinese shipyards are churning out military vessels at a pace that the United States simply cannot match. Do you see the pattern? Russia, we can't keep up with the pace of munitions there. China, we can't keep up the pace with the ships that they're making and the military that they're making. Goes on to say the U.S. cannot match the pace of building in the shipyards of Shanghai, which have already turned out 2 new aircraft carriers, with a third expected to begin sea trials soon. The latest vessel, the Fujian, features catapults to launch heavy fixed-wing aircraft with immense bomb payloads. These shipyards are also building a new type of amphibious assault vessel and many roll-on, roll-off ferries, which can have a dual purpose, transporting cars in peacetime and armored assault vehicles in the event of an attack on a neighbor, such as Taiwan. And that's what we were told by our sources in the military that was very well connected, very high up and connected in intelligence. And they were telling us that there are more military assets being moved right now into the area of Asia and that area of Taiwan than we've seen in our entire lifetime.
Yes.
And I'm 56 years old. And that I'm going to get an update. I'm going to do an update show pretty soon. But this is what I'm being told. There are countries outside of America as well, around the world, namely one, Australia, who are already in full war preparation with China. Because there's already a behind-the-scenes, almost Axis and allies forming, because they are ready. They are preparing for World War III. That is not just a catchphrase. Ladies and gentlemen, it has already begun. At the very least, the cyber part of it. Yeah. And then think about war on multiple continents is a world war.
Yes.
And that's happening right now. So what are your thoughts on that?
It makes me very uneasy. I mean, I really get stressed out thinking about this for too long at one time because it's very overwhelming. It can be very fearful. I have to remind myself who I am and what I am and the God that I trust and believe in, because if you just spend too much time thinking about this, it can be devastating to you.
Yes.
So, this is when you really need to have a relationship with the Lord, okay?
Yes, you better know who you are.
And so I'm leaning on that heavily, because when we read these articles, we talk about these articles, we read the comments, read the chat. Some of you guys have your own kind of lines of information and intelligence, and you drop things in there. It helps us put the picture together even more. And I know we're here. I know this is happening. But a lot of times for me, I really have to just shake myself and say, hey, it's going to be okay, because this is really happening. These things are going on.
They're really happening. And look, we're going to get back into it. But while we're on that vein, you need to start appreciating your life. You need to start appreciating the things that are around you, appreciating the things that you have. Because I'm telling you, not doom and gloom, but a lot of things that you have, you're not going to have them forever.
Yes.
And there's going to be a lot of things go away. And ultimately, number one is your relationship with God. Number two is your family. Appreciate your family. And appreciate, whatever stage you're at, even if you're struggling financially, maybe you're out of a job, maybe you're battling sickness, battling really bad things in your life. It's time to really start looking inward and really just saying, God, help me to be appreciative of what I do have in my life, because things are about to get much, much worse.
Yes. But, even those of us who are struggling right now, and we've got some concerns about, the future, everything seems to be costing more money. Friends and neighbors are losing their jobs. We still have it so much better than probably almost the rest of the world. There may be pockets that are doing good, or maybe doing even better than parts of our country. But think about the struggles of the rest of the world, the poverty, the total fear. I mean, it's just crazy what's going on.
It is.
We are really still blessed. And like you said, we've got to draw on what we have.
Yes.
And the relationships that we have.
But and then the last thing before we get back in the news is this, but that don't mean you don't need to be prepared as well. There's fear is not of God, but sometimes it will kick you in the rear end to make you understand we need to do some things. We need to make sure we've got a little bit at the house, some preparations in case the power goes out. These kind of things. These are kind of things you really need to think about, okay? I want to go back to this article because I want to read this right here because nobody is talking about this. It goes on to say, of even greater concern is the vast networks of tunnels the Chinese have been constructing. When have you heard anybody talking about the Chinese tunnels? It goes to say, we're being told that this network of tunnels makes the Hamas tunnels under Gaza look like holes scooped by children in a sand pit. What? While the West has been scaling back its military spending in favor of welfare and health care, China has been building artificial islands as naval bases and airfields. Less obvious but more ominous, it has been digging a vast network of tunnels and bunkers that make the Hamas warrens in Gaza look like holes scooped up by children in a sandpit. The Chinese tunnels stretch for hundreds of miles, and their plans are so closely guarded that the Western intelligence agencies have little idea what is down there. Domestic spies in the pay of the West who have attempted to smuggle out information have been caught and executed.
Good grief. You know what this makes me think of?
What?
That movie 2012. Was it 2012?
Was that the one where the apocalyptic, all the storms and stuff happened?
Right. But they were building these giant boats, these arcs.
The arcs, yeah.
In China.
As in the days of Noah.
So they're probably not building giant ships in those tunnels, but this was set in China. And look, hundreds of miles of tunnels is probably nothing with these tunnel boring machines the way they work.
Yeah.
Those nuclear-powered tunnel boring machines, as they dig it out, they can give it a glass-like smooth finish.
As they go.
Yeah. So, yeah, they're probably building survival bunkers just the way Russia can house how many millions underground in case they're attacked. While what's being offered to us here in our country?
Right. The only ones that's got underground bunkers here is Zuckerberg and all of the rich people, not me and you. But now watch this. Let's continue in this argument because it gets worse. Nobody knows why China has been putting so much effort into these tunnels. Are they anticipating the vast number of Chinese will need to shelter underground during an apocalyptic conflict with the United States? Watch this. In recent years, the Chinese have been feverishly upgrading and expanding their strategic nuclear arsenal. Most alarming of all is the buildup of nuclear missiles. Throughout the Cold War, though China has been a nuclear power since the mid-60s, its atomic arsenal was limited. By the fall of the Berlin Wall in 1989, the People's Liberation Army had only 30 or 40 long-range nuclear missiles because that, it believed, was more than enough. As President Deng Xiaoping chillingly taunted American journalists, how many Los Angeles can you afford to lose? The policy has changed. More than 100 nuclear missiles with multiple warheads have already been built and armed, with production expected to exceed 500 by the end of this decade, if not sooner. So we go back to the question, what does China know? What are they preparing for that we're not being told about? Yeah. Maybe it's something they're going to do. Maybe it's something that their intelligence says is about to be done to them. But ladies and gentlemen, Russia and China, our two biggest enemies, are preparing for something while we have drag queens trying to promote recruitment of future and doing drag shows on submarines.
Yes.
What in the world is wrong with our military? Yeah. Sandy, there's a reason why recruitment levels are down so low.
Exactly.
Kids, young people they don't want to join that. They don't want to fight wars that makes no sense, but they don't want to join. Yeah. And parents don't want their kids joining something that used to be a proudful event, a proud moment in a family. They didn't want to see their kids go, but they were just so proud of you for serving our country. But look what they've turned it into.
Exactly. Whew. You know, and it's not just that our military can't shine like they need to shine because of all the craziness and these restrictions, regulations, and quite frankly, roadblocks. Almost every day I see a new news article about a commercial flight gone wrong.
Yeah.
Where the aircraft are failing or, you know, how this latest, what do they call those super jets? The
747s?
The biggest one.
I don't know.
So 50 people were injured.
Yes.
Most of them not wearing a seatbelt. I mean, I get it. If there's going to be turbulence or something to knock you around, you need to have your seatbelt on. But whatever happened, at least 50 people were injured.
It said blood was all over the ceiling of the cockpit.
This is
from
crazy.
Them slamming their heads up against it.
I mean, that's personal responsibility. I get it, but what's going on? And before that, craft or skidding off the runway.
One of the planes lost one of its wheels.
Lost a wheel.
I mean, come on.
Windows, doors, whatever, flying off. What is going on?
It's the whole
breakdown.
DEI. It's the DEI hiring practices. You want to hire people for diversity, equity, and inclusion instead of hiring people that are actually good on the job.
To do their job, right.
And it's coming back to bite.
Yeah.
But I'm telling you, they ain't changing. They're all in. They're all in. The only way they're going to change is for you to stop using their services. And what are you going to do? You got to fly if you're going somewhere.
Yeah. A lot of times you have to fly for certain things. I mean,
you know what else sometimes you have to do, Sandy? Sometimes you have to take the subway.
Yeah.
In New York City and other places like that.
Exactly. Thankfully not here, but it is a must in some of these large cities. And
now look what's happening.
Yeah. Airbus. Thank you.
Yeah, Airbus, yeah. So New York is sending the National Guard, and they already done it. They're down. They're there right now in New York City subways to help, quote unquote, fight crime. Yeah. So you see the governor there. Let's zoom this in just a little bit, and it says that following a series of high-profile crimes in the New York City subway system, Governor Kathy Hochul announced plans this past Wednesday, to send hundreds. Sandy, we can't send the National Guard to the southern border. But governors like this would never dream of sending anything to the southern border. But they are sending hundreds of National Guard members to patrol and search passengers' bags for weapons at busy train stations.
I don't even understand how this is supposed to work. I've only been on the New York City subway once, and it was hectic, okay?
Yeah.
The number of stairs that you have to traverse quickly.
Right.
Some of those platforms are very small, very thin. People are just going in every direction onto and off of the subway and the train. And where do you stop them? Where do you pull them aside?
Well, I'm gonna finish this article, and then I'm gonna tell you what I really think this is about, because I don't think it's about what they're telling us about. Hochul is deploying 750 members of the National Guard and 250 state troopers and police officers. Think about this now. To the Metropolitan Transportation Authority, a state agent, to assist city police with bag searches. The plan is an effort to, quote, listen to the wording, rid our subways of people who commit crimes and protect all New Yorkers, whether you're a commuter or a transit worker. New York Police Department shows that crime had dropped in recent years since a surge in the COVID-19 wah-wah, but recent violent crimes on the subway have put residents on edge. Now, a couple of things are happening in New York. Number one, they're finally waking up to the border thing. I mean, they were a sanctuary city as long as everybody was staying in Texas and Arizona and New Mexico. But when they started coming in, I think the last number I heard was between 180 and 190,000 have been sent now. That's crossed the border into New York. And now they're everywhere. They're lying in the streets. They're taking resources. They're putting them in 5-star hotels. Yeah. They're kicking people out of the hotel.
How many times did it take you can't get a reservation at a certain hotel, or another corner shop has closed down, or another one of your favorite stores have closed down, going out of business, left the city forever for you to take note that, hey, something's going on here. We've been hearing for probably 2 years, people are moving out of the city. Yeah. They're done with it.
And here's the segue into what this thumbnail, the title of what this show is about, is sort of around this right here. It says, Hochul's decision is part of a larger effort from her office to address crime in the subway, which included a legislative proposal to ban people from trains for 3 years if they're convicted of assaulting a subway passenger. Cameras were also installed in conductors' cabins to protect transit workers. I also read another article that new cameras was installed throughout the subway system. Now, I don't remember, and I'm sorry that I don't remember the man's name, but do you remember the military veteran not long ago that was on the New York subway, and somebody was being attacked, and he attacked the attacker and that attacker that he attacked ended up dying.
I don't remember his
And he went
name.
to prison.
Yes.
But yet now the government is doing the same thing he was trying to do. But here's what I want to tell you. This is the first step of martial law, because let me tell you, they worded about.
You just said that.
I did.
Wow.
I'm not afraid to say it, because I can tell you right now, you can ban me if you want to. You can kick me off, YT, if you want to. But here's the reality. This is the first step of control, because you can label anything violence. Do you know that if I speak with my mouth on this platform against certain lifestyle choices that my Bible, that I believe in with all my heart, says is a sin and even abomination, if I really say what the Bible says, I can be accused of a hate crime and committing violence and a violent act.
Or at the very least, hateful speech, or if not that, violating a community standard maybe.
Yes. And so what's
Policy
to say
guideline.
What's to say that somebody on the subway is trying to witness their faith and they get into some kind of argument, or there's a fight that goes on and there's a racial integration in it that would really be big on the news or something like that, and somebody jumps in just to try to stop this or stop that, or this side says don't do this, that's a hate crime, this side says no, you're hurting me. I'm talking about all races, and I'm talking about all genders, and I'm talking about all preferences, any color of the rainbow. You jump into these situations nowadays. Used to, it was a commendable thing. You were taught as a young man is, hey, you see a young lady or someone being abused in public, you need to do the right thing, try to protect those people. Nowadays, they're, probably rightfully so, parents are teaching their kids, hey, look, if you have to, get involved, but try to stay out of it, because somebody's probably going to shoot you. And so what I'm saying is, because of the way everything is escalated, it is not going to be difficult to flip this switch and take it further to where, show me your papers.
Oh.
Show me.
Oh.
Yeah. Because
you just went there.
I went there. 1984, Georgia Orwell, the controlling, that's why I said they're coming for us. What I mean by that is there will be certain people who will be free to say anything they want to say, go anywhere they want to go. But there is people like the Big Picture family that have certain beliefs that go against the narrative.
Yes.
That you could be locked down and banned from traveling on the subway, traveling on an airline.
Well, that article just said that.
It's what I'm saying. It's really leading in that direction.
Which is kind of weird. I hadn't heard anything like that in our country. Several are saying his name was Daniel Penny.
Thank you.
So, oh my goodness, that was strange to me when you read that part in the article.
3 years.
So part of my mind says, well, that's not that bad. But to take something like that and point that out and to use that, that would really hurt an individual living in New York, because it's very different there, and you need public transit to, get to your job and to get places. But to hear that, it's kind of weird. But what really comes to my mind is this: January 6th.
That's right.
These people that were just there. Okay, we know several people went inside the Capitol, which
they shouldn't have done.
Probably was not using very good judgment. I'm sure they were hyped and a lot of excitement, but some of those never went inside.
That's right.
Some of those people never went inside. They were just there to be a part of this day. They were not a threat. They didn't do anything, but because they were on site, they've been targeted, and they're in this legal, cycle. I heard that the government is about to come after 2,600 more people.
Yep.
How many years later?
Yeah, exactly.
Over 3 years after the event?
Yeah, exactly. And there again, because they fear they're running out of time to get this done. And listen, some of these people have never been charged, and they have never had a trial, and they are still in solitary confinement.
Yes.
They're still in jail.
Yes.
And they've never even been charged. Well, if that can happen, and what you're saying is spot on, Sandy, is that if you've got the power to just deem somebody a criminal, just deem somebody. Think about, what's happening in the justice system now. I mean, this is not a Trump advertisement show, and I'm not saying that you should vote for Trump. You got to make your own. But let me tell you something. He's being tried and fined for something he's never even been, not only has he never been convicted of it, he's never even been arrested or accused of it.
Exactly.
But he's paying fines because they just say you did it. And he's never, after the fact, that not meaning, hey, you're under arrest for this, and this. He's never been arrested for that.
Yeah.
And it's like, but yet he's paying fines for that.
The Trump thing is an example of extremes to me. And I'm just like, how is this supposed to be rectified? This is so much money. And then if it's not met at a certain time, penalties, interest, things just keep racking up and racking up.
Yeah.
But back to our original story, talking about New York.
Yeah.
New York and January 6th are two completely different things.
Completely different.
But it shows you the strong arm of the government when they want to use it, because obviously a sort of surveillance was used to find people that were there, linked to their phones, to their devices on January 6th.
Yeah.
And then you go to the extreme of where literally using words like martial law.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, look at,
with the New York thing.
let's do one more on New York here, because it doesn't stop there. This is how quickly things escalate. Ladies and gentlemen, look at this. New York has ramped up social media surveillance over surging anti-Semitism, governor says. They're using that as a gateway. This is the only reason we're doing it. It's for the greater good. Listen to this. New York Governor Kathy Hochul announced Monday her state has ramped up social media surveillance efforts in response to increased anti-Semitism in the Big Apple. In a speech, Governor Hochul cited a rise in pro-Palestinian rallies taking place across New York City, such as one over Veterans Day, which saw protesters scale a light post to tear down a U.S. and United Nations flag. These incidents, she said, are beginning to impact the way New Yorkers interact with one another online. We're very focused on the data we're collecting from surveillance efforts, what's being said on social media platforms.
What does that mean? We're focused on the data. They're going to comb through the data to find what and to do what with.
Exactly. She goes on to say, we have launched an effort to be able to counter some of the negativity and reach out to the people when we see hate speech being spoken about on online platforms. Our social media analysis union, did you hear the name of this? Our social media analysis union has ramped up its monitoring of sites.
You mean investigation department?
Exactly. The 1984 division.
Ooh,
to catch,
that was good.
Thank you. Incitement to violence, direct threats to others. She said her announcement followed a meeting with the state's Jewish leaders, local law enforcement, and over living in fear since October 7th. She says, it's painful to me as governor of this great state that has been known for its diversity and how we celebrate different cultures, different religions, different viewpoints. It's painful to see the cruelty in which New Yorkers are treating each other. Everywhere from college campuses to our streets to schools to playgrounds, and they're entering their houses of worship. Her efforts coincide with similar moves by Senator Josh Hawley, a Republican from Missouri, who is calling to ban TikTok over an alleged rise in pro-Hamas content. See, they always find a vein to flow in. And that vein is anti-Semitism, because most people, other than the true anti-Semitic people that hate Israel, are not anti-Semitic. They may not agree with Israel, they might not even love Israel, but they are not in agreement with hate crimes against Jewish people or against any people. Most Americans are good people. But what this is, think about just in New York City, the largest city in our country, the most prominent city in the world, has put National Guard in the subways to check everyone's bags, what they're carrying around with them, in a public transit subway. And then they're saying, on top of that, in the same week, we have an entire team of experts combing the social media posts. And if you'll notice, it said messages, direct messages as well. In other words, private conversations.
Sure. And they can do it.
Is that not already a version of martial law? No, I mean, not really, but it's a beginning of something.
Well, look, it's an invasion of people's what should be their privacy. You know, it's not like they willingly signed over, and for people to be able to comb through their personal, private conversations. But here's another thought on this. This is terrible for other countries in the world to be seeing this happening.
Yes.
For us to be, that we're doing this in our country, in our largest, most, prominent city, basically.
Yeah.
I mean, what does that look like to them?
Yeah.
What does that say? What message does that send to the rest of the world?
And how does our veil threats of, you can't treat your citizens that way because we'll come in and put a stop to that, how much weight does that have now? I mean, it's like we used to have the high road.
Yes.
The rest of the world is laughing at us when they're like, who do you think you are?
Right.
Telling us how we should treat our people. Look what you're doing to your people.
This is another thing that they're laughing at us or questioning us about. I mean, look, we know that this kind of stuff goes on in other countries, different parts of the world. I hate it. But, for this to start happening here in this country and for everybody else in the world to be able to see and know that this is going on is not good.
Well, but we know where they got their marching orders. Look at this. This is breaking this week. We already covered this at the World Economic Forum back in January.
Yes.
But look at the date, March 10th.
Yes.
The WEF demands governments make, quote, concerted effort to silence critics. There he is, eats the bugs, Klaus Schwab.
Yep. Misinformation and disinformation.
Number one enemy for the next 2 years.
So dangerous.
Remember, number one enemy against the world, misinformation, disinformation. The World Economic Forum has issued a demand. Who elected you? For governments and big tech companies to make, quote, a concerted effort to silence critics of the unelected globalist organization agenda. The WEF claims that it is seeking to stamp out wrongthink as part of its alleged fight against so-called disinformation. Klaus Schwab's organization is now insisting that global governments, media tech companies, and civil society must ramp up efforts for the anti-disinformation campaign. In a statement, the WEF argues that disinformation is a threat to our ecosystem. The Switzerland-based group wants, quote, experts to explain to world leaders and bureaucrats how to curb opposition to the globalist agenda. Wow. The WEF blames digital technology of what it calls a fragmented media ecosystem for the supposedly unprecedented amounts of disinformation. That is code for we don't control it anymore. We don't have a centralized 4 little networks that we can tell what to do. Mm-hmm. There's stuff getting out that we didn't approve.
Well, when you put those two stories side by side, the last two articles that you just read, it does seem like maybe Kathy Hochul was getting her marching orders from old Klaus. But I've looked up several people to find out if they were part of the World Economic Forum Young Global Leaders Program. I haven't looked to see if she was a part of that, but she seems like she is.
Well, if she ain't, she's a disciple.
Right. She seems like she's pretty chummy or ready to receive those orders and obey if they were indeed sent from him. But
well, the article goes on to say that during a panel at the recent Davos meeting, EU bureaucrats and New York Times and Wall Street Journal head honchos got passed off as truth experts. Remember, we covered that where she was like, we used to own the truth.
Right.
She said, we used to own the news.
I remember that.
She's like, we don't own the news anymore.
Oh.
That was from the Wall Street Journal. New York Times actually said that. The corporate media elites that spoke at the Davos panel similarly parroted the WEF's talking points. Meredith Kopit Levine of the New York Times, that's what we're talking about, said during the session in Davos that the globalists simply want to, quote, help the public. Continued, we need to help the public be more media literate as to the value and importance of independent journalism. People find it very hard for many reasons to distinguish what it is and what it's not. Trust is our most valuable asset. And the minute we let go of that, our business models will fall apart.
What was the subtitle for the WEF conference?
Rebuilding trust.
Something.
Yeah.
So was the word wrong think actually used in the book 1984?
I think so. I'm telling you. 1984 is upon us. And by the way, let's get real deep. Just this past Sunday, I showed our church 2 clips. Yeah. And I'll be talking about this. By the way, let me just throw this up here, shameless plug. I will be talking extensively about this Wednesday night on our Bible study at 7 p.m. Central Time. So you need to be here live with us because I'm going to be talking about the power of 40 years. And 40 years ago was 1984.
Yes.
Think about this.
That was tremendous.
Now, 1984 was not written in 1984. I can't really remember what year it was written, but it was a long time before 1984. But he was saying that in 1984 would be the control system.
Somebody look up and see if that book was written in 1948 and if it was just an inverse.
Yeah, we'd like to know that. Somebody look it up and let us know when 1984 by, what's his name?
George Orwell.
George Orwell
was written.
But now here's the interesting thing. In 1984 was also the year that Apple ran their ad. And it was based on the book 1984, that 1984 was supposed to be this, and this. And they were bucking the system against the New York Times, against IBM and all that. So, the woman runs through the sledgehammer and throws it through the screen. And it was all supposed to be the book. Well, that only showed one time. But something else interesting happened in 1984, Sandy, because we're talking a lot about 1984 tonight. Mm-hmm. That was the year that Terminator came out. And there is a scene that we showed our church that I will be showing Wednesday night as well here on the big picture, is he's sitting in the car with her, and what's her name? Can't think of it. I'm having a brain freeze on Terminator. I know all the people that's in there. Reese.
Sarah Connor,
Reese. And he's talking.
They're saying 1949 that book was written.
Okay.
Do a drill down and see. Just make sure that it was.
Somebody said, okay. All right. So look, in 1984, not only did the movie come out in 1984, it was based in 1984. It's very clear that it's based in 1984. So he starts telling her about these robots that have skin-like structures that you can't differentiate between a robot, a real person. Sounds familiar in our world right now. And listen to what he says to her. And I want to show you the clip Wednesday night. She says, I'm not crazy, Reese. We can't do things like that and build things like that. Yet. And he said, no, you can't. But you can in about 40 years.
Oh, my goodness.
That's 2024. And ladies and gentlemen, in the movie, he comes back from the future from 2029, 1 year before Agenda 2030.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, y'all, there's some stuff playing out in front of us that is crazy.
And where he comes from, they're underground like rats, while the robots are, roaming around overhead trying to find them and kill them like little bugs. So.
The world we live in. Well, shifting gears.
Everybody's sure that it was 1949.
Okay, well, that's
Vic
good.
Lohner says he's reading it now.
But you know what? That meant he wrote it in 1948, and it got published in 1949.
Maybe.
Brazil's staggering dengue, how you say it, dengue?
Dengue fever.
Dengue fever rises. A crisis is warning to the world. It's getting really bad there. Let's see if we can get down to the article here. It says that patients... Excuse me, let me zoom it in. Yep, it ain't working. I hate it when this happens. There we go. Patients lying motionless in the waiting room, moaning for help, desperate hunts for open hospital beds, emergency room arguments, blah, blah, blah. Not since the darkest days of the WAN, when hospital systems all over the country ruptured under the weight of the disease, has Brazil witnessed such scenes. But this time it's not the coronavirus that has led states all over the country to declare a state of emergency and even spurred the construction of a field hospital in the capital. It's dengue fever. Now, I don't know that much about dengue fever. Do you know?
I do not.
Okay. So this disease is ripping through much of South Africa, where scientists... South America, where scientists say that rising temperatures due to climate change, of course, have both extended the territorial range of the mosquito that carries the dengue and increased its proliferation. In the first 2 months of this year, 100,000 suspected cases, more than 5 times the typical rate. Peru, racked by its own outbreak, has declared an emergency in much of the country. Argentina, too, has seen the explosion of cases. And let's keep in mind, don't want to keep harping all night long on the border. Right. But many people from those areas are the people that are coming across the United States border. Sure. And they're not being tested. They're not being anything. There's not anything being done to them. So many of those diseases are not just crossing American borders. They're crossing Canadian borders. They're crossing borders in Europe. They're crossing borders all over the world. And they're bringing many of these diseases with them.
Right. And this is a very serious disease, but this is certainly not the only disease that they're bringing with them.
No.
No. There certainly would have other things that, we wouldn't have very strong immunities to. And I just hate that that's going on. And this is probably just the beginning of the dengue fever outbreak.
Yeah.
And, Peru is near and dear to our hearts here.
Yes, it is. I've been there many times.
Right. So I can't imagine the precious people dealing with that. And I hope that there's medicines, they're able to get medical attention and begin to squash this, get a hold on this before it really goes crazy.
Yeah, and I appreciate so much looking over the live chat, telling everybody, saying, smash the like button, help them out, smash the like button. That blesses us so much because you're helping us build this. So if you hadn't done it, you're new to our program, make sure you subscribe as well. Let's build that subscriber base. We're believing God. We're at the time of this recording, we're like at 7,800 subscribers. We're trying to get to 10,000 as soon as possible. Yeah. Why? Not because it's just we want big numbers. Those represent individual lives that are being changed and eyes that are being opened to the truth. Yes. And we want to build a million man and woman army out there of big picture people that their eyes are open. Speaking of something else that we want to build, we're going to take just a few minutes to divert over to this, and we'll get right back to the news. We still got a lot of news to cover tonight. In fact, we still got another hour basically left of this program, so don't go anywhere. We're going to get into the AI news and everything. But why we got this up here? The way you go to this, what we're talking about right now, is I want everybody to make a note of this, and it will also be linked down in the description once this show is over with. It's called it's faithnow.com. Faithnow.com is the website for Faith TV. Sandy and I are going. Let me just go ahead and click on this right here. This will show you. This is live TV right here, and this is, let's see. So you could say, oh, there's our friend Pastor Tracy.
Yeah.
Pastor Tracy is live on Faith TV.
So that you understand, we're not going out of order.
Now he's a great friend.
Get to this scripture.
He's great.
But it's Isaiah 50.
Now he's the one that connected us with Faith TV and has went to bat for us, and we can officially say now on the big picture that the ink is not dry on the contracts yet, but it's about to be. We are going on Faith TV. It is a growing television network that is touching the world. If you have DirecTV, you already have it. If you have a Roku, you have Apple TV, Fire TV, Android TV, doesn't matter. There's an app. It's called Faith Now, and you see the little triangle at the top there, the top left-hand corner. That's the logo. But when you go there, look at all you get.
It's amazing.
These are other television stations as well that are available. And that's all a part. It's like a Christian television Netflix, basically. But then you get down here, they've got an event stream. And here's the big one for us as well. Starting in about a week, maybe 2 weeks, when you download this app, anytime Solid Rock Church, our church that we pastor, goes live, that the live stream will show up right there in the church channels. And it's just going to be incredible. The whole world is watching this. They just unlocked Faith TV United Kingdom. They have Faith TV Russia. They have Faith TV Africa. And our program, The Big Picture, our television show that many of you helped us produce those 13 episodes and are now partnering with us to build a new studio to continue beyond those 13 episodes, are all going to be on Faith TV all around the world. And you can help us grow this, help us build that studio. Look, you get kids TV, you've got podcasts, you've got worship music, radio channels, then different playlist of different programs.
So cool.
It's just incredible here what you can get. Now, it is a subscription-based service, and we'll get right back to the news, so don't leave. It's either 99 cents a month or $1.99 a month. Now,
A year.
No,
I'm sorry.
a month.
I'm thinking of $19.99.
So $1.99 or 99 cents a month, and for 99 cents a month, you get two of these channels. You would get Faith TV and maybe your choice of Victory TV, and all the other stuff. But for $1.99 a month, you get everything you see here. But the cool thing is what you were talking about is you can also just pay $19.99 one time a year, and you get all of it unlocked for a year.
Amazing.
I mean, that's incredible. So go out there and download that app. Go ahead and subscribe and get ready, because it ain't going to be long. You're going to see the big picture right there, and you're going to see our church on there as well.
So I'm seeing somebody say they're a Daystar fan, but they're going to check this out. So
cool.
We met.
And we love Daystar, by the way.
Love Daystar.
Yeah.
But we personally met two of the key people from Faith, and they just won us over.
They did.
We really felt their sincerity and their genuineness, and I was just highly impressed with them.
And you know, they felt it from us too. They that's why they said, "Hey, this is a fit. We can feel a connection here." And they followed through with it. One of the guys is in South Africa. He messaged me this week from South Africa. Gavin. He is the one that's building it all together. So if you'd like to be a partner with us to help us in our television ministry and all that we're doing, all you have to do is go to LarryRagland.com or LarryRagland.tv. And when you go there, just click on Partner with Us. And when you click on Partner with Us, you can see the ways you can mail in a gift if you'd like. You can make a one-time online gift, or you can become one of our 4 choices of a monthly partner to just digitally do that with us, and we would appreciate it. All right, so thank you all for giving us that time to tell you about the great things that are happening and that you're a part of. Now, Sandy, there's just some weird stuff happening across the pond.
Hello.
I'm telling you, you know.
Before you get into this,
okay.
Listen, I don't watch a lot of mainstream news.
No.
I can't do it. But I have not heard another word about the king.
No.
What is going on?
Now, maybe some of you, and we
maybe
have people.
They have. Maybe it's out there, but I haven't seen or heard it.
And Miriam's right there. I see Miriam. Miriam lives in the United Kingdom.
Right.
So Miriam, let us know, is the king okay? Are you seeing the king getting around doing his thing? Because he went to the hospital, and then he got out, and then supposedly, and he's just sort of been in hiding on this side of the pond. Maybe you are seeing him everywhere. But Miriam and a couple others of you live in the United Kingdom that watch us live, and it's so good to see Miriam on here live with us
if you
tonight.
can confirm, you know, that he is sick and struggling and, you know, dealing with a chronic or maybe terminal thing going on or not. Can you let us know?
But now we're not talking about the king tonight. This
story is not.
At the same time that the king went in the hospital, Kate went in the hospital. Kate Middleton also went in the hospital. And then all I'm going to do is just play a little bit of this video here, and then I'm going to look at an article, and then we're going to talk about sort of a mystery that's happening. Now, she supposedly came out today and explained a few of these things, supposedly. I can't remember if she explained it personally or if she's through written word or whatever. But let's watch a little bit of this.
We're not being given any updates on her. We haven't seen them in public.
It's really just fueled more concern about his wife's health.
The paparazzi do normally catch a picture of her every so often, but we haven't seen any of them either.
Fears for Princess Kate's health are growing after Prince William pulled out of a memorial for his godfather this week, citing a personal matter.
Prince William has cancelled an official engagement.
He was meant to be doing a reading at the service, so it must have been something of some significance for him to pull out at such short notice.
Kate's prolonged absence follows abdominal surgery in January. The palace refusing to confirm anything more than the barest of facts.
The Princess of Wales was admitted to hospital yesterday for planned abdominal surgery. She will remain in hospital for 10 to 14 days before returning home to continue her recovery. She is unlikely to return to public duties until after Easter.
Kate.
All right, so we just saw an update from Miriam saying Kate is okay. But here's what I want you to help me understand, Miriam and everybody else, is this next thing. Why did this happen? And now, like I said, she supposedly updated this and come out and explained this. But the palace, at the time of this article, refuses to release original Kate Mother's Day photo after Princess apologizes for causing confusion with picture that she edited, as experts warn public will now question if health updates can actually be trusted. So it goes on to show, this is weird to me, and is confirmed, and she admitted it, that she photoshopped herself, or her team did, into this picture with her kids, that she's okay. Kate, in a statement on social media, said, like many amateur photographers, I do occasionally experiment with editing. I'm sorry, I have a hard time believing that a royal family is doing their own editing. But I wanted to express my apologies for any confusion the family photograph we shared yesterday caused. I hope everyone celebrating had a very happy Mother's Day. And then royal sources stressed that this was an amateur family photograph taken by the Princess of Wales. It's understood that it was taken in Windsor last week. Now, let me scroll down there and show you something. It begins to show you how people started breaking this thing down.
What?
The 16 issues with Kate Mother's Day photo. Charlotte's hand, empty spaces where sleeves should be. Kate's zipper. Top is further to the left than it should be. So it's a complete, look, these are all spots that are edited in this picture, and it's confirmed that it is. I wish I had that other picture. I don't think I do. But let's see if I do. It may be all the way down here. No, I don't have it. Okay, there it is. There it is. So look, they start pointing out, see how it's blurred on the sleeve? So why would you blur that on the sleeve? Why would you? It is strange to me, and it goes on to show a bunch of different pictures. Look, it shows the hand, is how the hand is weird. Just different things about the hair. The wedding ring is gone. There's a hand without a wedding ring. So it's like, why? Why would you do this?
Yeah.
And so, it's not that here in America some people are consumed by the royal family. I'm not.
Yeah, I would call that 16 or 17 points of interest a little
a little obsessive.
A little obsessive.
You're a little bit too obsessed with the princess.
But look, hey, that's their job, and they're obviously doing a great job at being a detective. But the big question is something really going on?
Yeah. Yeah. Typically, when you see that, it's one thing for you to just you have a blemish on your face and you're fixing it and you don't want to show your aging. But she didn't have a wedding ring on, and sleeves on the kids were messed up and all of this. What is all that about? It's almost like, I'll tell you what it looks like to me. And you're talking about amateur. I am as amateur as they get, but I do use Photoshop. It almost comes across to me that she just had to Photoshop herself in that image with her kids, and she don't really look that way. Maybe Miriam and some other people from the United Kingdom.
No, I know what it was. She just wanted to have a spa day.
Oh.
And she was like, listen, you guys work your magic, okay? I don't have time for this. I have an appointment at the spa.
So, but wait a minute. If your reason is true, but she said she edited it.
Yeah.
See, that's the problem with your argument. Is that your argument holds weight if she walks out and says, "Fix this," but she says, "I'm an amp." Okay. What is she? She's the heir apparent, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So she's the queen to be, and she's literally sitting on her phone editing her own pictures before she publishes them.
Between all of her speaking engagements and making those sandwiches for the children. Yep, that's what happened.
They're supposedly the richest family in the world. Come on.
I don't know if they're the richest.
They're not, but they're promoted as that.
Right.
They're promoted as...
I mean, I understand they have a lot of property and everything else, but
yeah.
I think
we know they're not the
those
richest.
Saudi princes surely are giving them a run for their money.
Well, I thought you was going to really go down the rabbit hole and talk about the trillionaires out there that you like to talk about sometimes.
Okay.
But I guess you don't want to do that.
That's just poking me like, go girl.
Yeah, that's just...
Might want to change the subject.
He's not a trillionaire, but he is a billionaire. And at one time he was, quote unquote, the wealthiest man in the world. Now he's the most demented, population control, full of the devil, man. You
didn't see it a while back, but when we were talking about dengue fever, someone threw in chat about his special mosquitoes.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Bill Gates has his own version, his generated mosquitoes that he let loose in Florida and some other places. Mm-hmm. It's gonna solve those problems. Sandy, it's not causing the problems. It's solving the problems. Bill Gates wants to shut down West Virginia's coal industry. Now watch this. Bill Gates, Carol Miller, and Joe Manchin, who all of a sudden is not running for re-election as senator, are now working together to destroy the lifeblood of West Virginia's economy and make sure America is never again energy independent. Bill Gates is taking his globalist anti-energy policies to West Virginia, where he openly says that he hopes to destroy the coal industry, and he's doing it with the help of the state's bipartisan political establishment, including Democrat Joe Manchin and Republican Congressman Carol Miller. And they post this picture, and then here's the Republican woman. She says, "It was wonderful meeting with Bill Gates to discuss energy investments and best practices to improve our workforce in West Virginia. Innovation makes West Virginia coal, gas, and carbon capture the backbone of U.S. energy independence that supplies reliable, affordable power to the world."
Wow, this can only mean one thing. They're going to destroy everything and ruin everybody's life.
Look at this. This is his plan. A step in the right direction. U.S. carbon emissions fell in 2023 as coal use tumbled to new lows. But yet you want power plants to make everything electric.
Yeah.
And be able to charge everything electric. Everything that's everything be electric. And you think you're going to charge all of them with wind turbines and solar.
Yeah.
Please.
When the sun's not acting right, and we've seen article after article that tell you basically can't recoup the money on these giant turbines. I mean, we saw them in Israel. They're quite impressive, and they felt really good about their wind turbine, electric producing capability. But as far as this country and other places in the world, all I hear is it's a giant investment.
Yep.
They break down frequently, and it takes so many years to recoup the cost of this investment. Is it really a practical solution? So
No. Nothing that he is proposing is practical. Because let's continue with Bill Gates, because this article says Bill Gates has a plan, Sandy. Get this. This is net zero plan. Plans to pump compressed CO2, carbon dioxide, underground that will equate the energy of 35 nuclear bombs.
Now, this sounds great.
This is exciting.
This is wonderful.
Look, he's always smiling. I tried to find like an evil professor-looking picture. Every picture of Bill Gates, the social media makes sure that he's always looks
because
so
he's so happy about killing people and ending people's lives.
gotta delete that. I gotta do something.
Just press all the buttons.
So I'm pressing all the buttons.
Press
I gotta delete that. Okay.
I'm sorry.
Hey,
I think I said the quiet part out loud
Yes, you did.
again.
Sandy. I've said a few things tonight too.
I guess I need a slap on the wrist.
Bad girl.
Seriously, though, he's going to pump.
Yeah.
He's basically going to create a nuclear explosion.
Yeah.
When we are like so threatened from fracking.
Yeah, exactly. Come on, think about that. All right, so let's listen. A new Bill Gates funded scheme has emerged that seeks to pump compressed carbon dioxide underground with ferocious force in order to meet net zero targets. In the United Kingdom, the government's Climate Change Committee has approved the plan to decarbonize the country's energy. The CCC's plan for net zero is to shift transport and heating from using fossil fuels to using electricity. After this shift is complete, the government will then decarbonize the electricity grid. To decarbonize the grid, it is assumed that electricity will be generated using nuclear and renewables. During periods when nuclear, wind, and solar cannot meet demand, carbon capture and storage will be deployed to remove CO2 emissions, as the electricity must be generated using gas. CCC is being championed by Microsoft co-founder Bill Gates. This startup, backed and incubated by Gates Breakthrough Energy Ventures, has engineered a hybrid technology that combines engineering with natural photosynthesis processes to remove carbon dioxide in the atmosphere and store it underground. This sounds like a great plan. It's important to understand that carbon removal is not an excuse to keep emitting or to slow down our transmission. We need to keep innovating as fast as we can. Sandy, nothing could go wrong. Nothing could go wrong.
No.
This is a foolproof plan.
Absolutely.
Just pump it underground. With high force.
Yeah.
The equivalent of multiple nuclear bombs.
It's beautiful.
So much better than driving a car with gasoline.
Yeah.
So much better. Man, we are solving the world's problems tonight.
Yeah. With Bill Gates at the helm.
And we're not through with Bill Gates tonight either.
There's more.
There's more.
Hang on.
We're still not because
please stand by.
Because what is he known for right now besides what you just said a while ago?
Besides that thing.
Besides that thing. He's no longer known as the guy from Microsoft. I'm sorry. People don't. Do you realize there's a whole generation of young people that have no idea that Bill Gates started Windows? They think of him as this philanthropist he's a doctor. He must be a doctor. He's an expert on the wah. He's an expert on mosquitoes.
Immunizing the world.
The world. I mean, this guy must be work at Mayo Clinic or something.
You know what I think we should do?
Wait a minute. He made a computer.
We should get a picture of him with a straw hat and overalls. Right?
Dun 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 dun. I don't know where you're going. I just was thinking about Green Acres is a place to be. Is that what you're talking about?
Yes.
But look, you know why you're saying that, ladies and gentlemen. We know why, because he's now
in a tractor. We need a tractor.
You think his tractor's sexy? Not the tractor. You remember that country song?
Yeah.
You think my tractor's sexy?
I don't know why that song's making an appearance.
I don't either.
Back to those overalls and that straw hat.
He is the largest owner of farmland and pasture land in America. Bill Gates, the computer guy. Now, let's read this. This is heartbreaking, seriously. We were laughing about Bill Gates, but this right here is heartbreaking.
It is terrible.
Over 140,000 farms have went out of business in the last 5 years. That almost seems an unbelievable number. It says between 17 and 22, the number of farms in the United States declined by 141,733, or 7%.
It doesn't even seem possible.
It doesn't seem possible. It says acres operated by farm operations during the same time frame declined by 20.1 million, a loss equivalent to an area the size of Maine. Only 1.88% of acres operated and 1% of farm operations were classified under a non-family corporate farm structure. In other words, all the ones that closed down were family farms, because it says only 1% of the farm closures were classified as non-family corporate farm structures. So all the corporate farm structures surviving, but the families are losing.
Yeah.
Conducted every 5 years, the Census of Agriculture collects data on land use and ownership. And it says it's products sold or normally would have been sold, $1,000 or more agricultural products during the census year. And it gives, crunches a bunch of numbers on how they got to that number. But the sad thing is, look at that chart. Just the declining of U.S. farms is just incredible.
And say again, who is in possession of most of the farms now?
Bill Gates.
Okay, the corporations.
The corporations,
too.
Yeah, the corporations.
Instead of being
only
an individual,
1%. Only 1% of that number that failed was corporate. 99% of it was family.
So from the individual families into the hands of the corporations, and especially, the Bill Gates of the world.
Yes.
This is becoming like the monopoly of, the Baby Bells and Ma Bell and all of that. Way back in the 70s and 80s, when our country decided that that was too monopolized and we're going to break all of this up. And they did, which just really came back together again, or going back even farther into Standard Oil days and into the oil corporation and how they had such a monopoly in our country. And I don't know how many other parts of the world, but it's like all of this is being shrunk down into just where it's going to be almost all held by corporations. And that's not going to be a good thing for you and me.
No, it's definitely not. And they're not going to be pest control free. They're not going to be pesticide free and all this chemicals. They're the bioengineered vegetables that you're eating are not necessarily coming from the family farms unless they're being forced to only be able to get their seed from Monsanto and others. But look at this. Yeah. Look at this one graphic here. I just want to show you this one because there's a bunch of them on here. But this one, I don't know how much you can see of this, but the colors are, it says the green represented they gained 100,000 acres or more. The red represents lost 100,000 acres or more. Look at all those counties. Those are counties that lost over 100,000 acres or more. That's just, it's heartbreaking. It's just heartbreaking because we're importing our food, we're importing our electronics, we're importing our clothing, we're importing our cars, we're importing everything. And guess where we're importing them from? Our number one enemy in the world that we just took 30 to 45 minutes saying that they're preparing to go to war with us.
Yep.
So what happens when they go to war with us? You think they're going to continue to supply us things? You think we're going to be able to still buy stuff? We are so dependent on China and other countries around the world. We were energy dependent for a short period of time, and now we're no longer.
Right.
We're completely energy non-dependent. We're just lost. And it's like we are in a place right now that I don't know. I know God can do anything, but in our country and in countries around the world that are freedom-loving countries, it almost seems like it can't be reversed, that we've gone too far. What is your thought on that?
I have to agree with you. I mean, it's hard enough, I would imagine, when you're motivated to continue your way of life and your lifestyle of farming, but then when it just becomes impossible to do that, where's the passion going to come from? When, I'm sure some of these people were bought out, but probably a lot of them were ran out.
Yeah.
And just, their livelihoods shrunk and everything taken away from them. I mean, when there's no support, when your government is not standing behind you, when it feels like no one is fighting for you, how are you going to continue to do what you've done? Yeah. Continue that way of life when it's nothing but stress and you're hitting a wall every day of your life trying to keep this going. Something has to give at some point.
And how many people are going to lose hope? And that's why we keep coming back to, no matter how bad it gets out there, you can still have hope. But
you're fighting the giants.
Yeah, you're fighting the giants. So there needs to be some Davids.
Yes.
And there are some Davids that are not afraid to fight the giants, but you know what? You're still going to be in a fight.
Applaud all of those who are still hanging on and trying to continue this way of life and keep it going.
Yeah. Well, let's go on. The hits keep hitting.
The hits keep hitting.
Yep. What was I supposed to say? I made up another phrase.
Maybe you need this coffee more than me.
I think I do. Wells Fargo, Sandy, this is further control here. I
love hearing this, by the way.
Further police state that we're talking about here on the show tonight.
Crazy.
Wells Fargo has been abruptly terminating customers' bank accounts, says attorney generals in 16 states, demanding immediate freeze on lenders' alleged debanking practices. More than a dozen state attorneys general are accusing banking titan Wells Fargo of abruptly terminating customers' accounts without warning. In a letter addressed to Wells Fargo CEO, it's 16 Republican attorney general across the country went against the trillion-dollar lender of debanking customers in a political and discriminatory manner. The AGs say Wells Fargo has started a new trend that looks at clients' political views as basis for retaining banking access. Quote, within this context, Wells Fargo decisions to debank Republican candidates and gun industry participants reveal a new troubling trend. Blanket prohibitions and policies against providing services to certain customers led to the inevitable question, who is next? Which types of companies or people will Wells Fargo determine cannot be allowed as customers? Is this why Wells Fargo apparently closed the accounts of former Republican candidates Lauren Whitsey and Pete Dobroskia on the same day in 2021?
Wow.
They go on to say Wells Fargo should cease its efforts to discriminate based on ESG, environmental, social, and corporate governance that we have covered extensively here on this show, and publicly commit to serving Americans in a fair, non-discriminatory, and lawful manner. And it goes on to just basically say that, it's a one-sided thing, that they're going after people who are not of a left-leaning belief system. Now, we started hearing about even back before we even started the big picture, we were hearing of some of the people like Visa and MasterCard, especially, and Discover, were tracking purchases of Second Amendment rights, and they were basically shutting down accounts and saying or even saying they were proposing that our card, if you have a Discover card or MasterCard, you could not use that to buy a weapon. And so when you take that, let's go back. New York, let's go back. What's happening in the subway? What's happening with social media tracking? What's happening with the demands of Klaus Schwab to shut down disinformation? Back in January, the world got their marching orders that the number one enemy of the global climate and the world's safety is misinformation and disinformation. Now you have banks shutting down people's accounts that don't agree with them. How can you not believe that 1984 was not a prophetical book, but it's taken us 40 years to get to this place?
Yes. Well, I don't know how long this practice that we're talking about specifically in this story has been going on, but it reminds me of what happened in Canada, although it's not maybe exactly the same thing, but in the when the truckers were out and the banks shut down the online giving. What was that app?
No, what they did was it was the GoFundMe.
The GoFundMe accounts,
which was in the millions.
Yes.
And the GoFundMe chose that.
Right. So it's not exactly the same thing, but it's it's this kind of intervention and just limiting people and just shutting down
their
bank accounts.
Do you remember what? They didn't just shut it down. They said, we're not going to give the money back. We're going to choose our own charities and give the money to them. And then thankfully they were stopped, but they were going to give to leftist anti-trucker charities with the money that people around the world had gave these truckers. I mean, where are the rights that we have?
This overreaching and this persecution of conservatives, people that are, I mean, you may not necessarily have to be a Republican, but if you are right-leaning, if you claim to be, conservative in some way, obviously they're coming after you.
Coming after you. That's the name of this thumbnail. They're coming after us. And I really believe they are, because remember, everything's digital. All of this is happening at the same time.
Yes.
Agenda 2030 is coming. And, I go back to Terminator. Did come back from 2029. I mean, come on. You can't make this stuff up. But what do we say on this show, Sandy? If it's digital,
programmable.
It's programmable. Now, what's happening here?
He even called it Skynet.
It sure did.
All the way back in 1984.
They sure did. They sure did. Nepal has already decided they're going to assign digital IDs at birth.
Oh, yay.
And issue biometric smart cards. The government will maintain the digital identity of its citizens starting from early childhood as it starts assigning national ID numbers to children during birth registration. The national ID is a federal identity card issued by the Department of National ID and Civil Registration with a unique number assigned to each person. Nepali citizens can obtain the cards based on their biometric and demographic data. The card features a unique number, photo, personal information, and the bearer's fingerprints. The department claims that the biometric smart card will have several uses and that officials can read it using secure terminals. We have been informally providing national ID numbers to people at their birth registration across the country for the past 2 months. Such numbers are being given to around 2,000 people per day. So we've talked about where this is going, and here we are. Every nation, listen, it's trickling out little by little. The EU, remember, just created their digital passport. Now they're doing their digital euro that's going to be attached to it. Now you have countries like Nepal and other countries that are saying instead of a birth certificate, you're going to be given a digital ID. And if it's digital, it's programmable. That means it can be turned off. It can be turned on. It can give you can walk into a store or you can be beeped by your biometrics.
Yes.
And because you didn't line up with the government and forbid to come in the store, you can't buy or sell. I remember reading that in the book one time, back from a kid, and I'm still reading it now. It's called the Bible. The Bible, you cannot buy or sell unless you have the mark or unless you have the identity of the beast. Sandy, why do people not read the Bible? I mean, we are living what the Bible said the last generation was going to live. It's crazy.
Come on.
It's crazy, crazy, crazy. Sandy, digital ID. I don't want no digital ID. I don't know about you. You want a digital ID?
No, but I think it's probably already a little too late. I think they already have certain biometrics on us as well.
Are you trying to say that this smartwatch is tracking me and listening to me?
Yeah.
Hey, NSA, you listening to me? CIA, FBI, NSA, we love you so much. You're our favorites in the whole world.
Get saved. Give your heart to Jesus.
Give your heart to Jesus,
That's
NSA. Right. FBI, give your heart to Jesus. All right, so, we're having too much fun tonight. Fun. Washington State Governor Jay Inslee, if you needed more evidence, is now poised to kill free speech. It's rapid fire.
Why are they so liberal over there on that coast?
Oh, yeah.
It's ridiculous.
It is. They really are. God. Listen to this. Residents of the Evergreen State will soon be able to report. If you want to know that we're in 1984, listen to this. The book.
Yeah.
Report their neighbors now for expressing bias. This is the governor of Washington.
What does that remind you of?
Yeah, exactly. The governor of Washington is poised to sign a bill that ends free speech in certain countries. Are you talking about a certain country in Europe?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Many decades ago. Yeah.
Yeah. Had a weird kind of logo that went sort of like this.
Hello.
Yeah. Demonic, evil.
Right.
Okay. The governor of Washington is poised to sign a bill that ends free speech in certain counties and the rest of the state probably sometime thereafter. Recently passed by the Washington state legislature, the measure creates a, quote, bias incident hotline to the state attorney general's office. You read that right. American citizens in the northwestern state will soon be able to turn in their friends, neighbors, family members, or even strangers for not only physical hate crimes, but also expressions of bias. Expressions of bias.
My goodness.
So that's a fancy word for you support or bias to a doctrine or a narrative that doesn't line up with theirs. Yes. So you can report them. Let's say, I don't know why we always keep coming back here because he's to Trump, but because he's made, the media has made him this icon of division. But what I'm saying is this bill, if you stick a Trump or Make America Great thing in your yard, and you equate that because you've been told that means you are a racist, you're this, you're all kinds of things because there's no way you couldn't be that without that sign, then your neighbor can turn you in for your political sign in your yard.
There you go.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is not in Nazi Germany.
No.
This is not in North Korea. This is the state of Washington.
Exactly.
In the United States.
So hard to believe that we are here at this point, that these things are going on, that you couldn't feel the liberty and the freedom to put certain things in your yard, to fly a flag, to put a sign out, to speak freely and openly.
Exactly.
That you would be turned in, snitched on, whatever. I mean, my goodness, this is insanity.
And there's already states and cities that have made people take down American flags, flying outside of their own homes. That flying an American flag is hate speech because some people perceive that flag to represent blah, 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 blah. And it's like, come on, it's the United States of America flag.
They're threatened by it. I mean, we've been hearing about covenants in certain subdivisions and neighborhoods for years that nothing is allowed, not even an American flag. And obviously, if you're a veteran, you're going to probably have a really big issue with that. And it sounds pretty crazy to me, but reasons given, that you can't even fly these flags in your own yard in, these certain neighborhoods and areas. And I don't think it was called hate speech or that it was a threat to other people in the early days, but I'm certainly hearing that excuse thrown around now.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And think about all the fake hate crimes that have come out that made it all over the media. And as far as a lot of people know, because they've moved on, they still believe it. Come to find out, people just faked it because they understand it don't take much at all in our society now to be labeled something. If you get labeled something, you get canceled.
Yes.
I mean, your family, your livelihood can be destroyed.
Yes.
So it's fear that's causing people to just walk on eggshells.
Got it.
And that's a part of that 1984. That's what I said at the title of the show.
We are throwing that around a lot tonight. I have seen so many things in chat about 1984, the book. Is there a television show?
There was a movie. There's a movie, yeah.
There's a movie.
Yeah.
What? Yeah, okay. So I've seen Brave New World, which is a book that's probably older than 1949. I think that may go back, I want to say possibly into the 20s, but Brave New World and 1984 are thrown around a lot tonight.
Okay. So Russia is now unveiling its blockchain-based payment system for BRICS, set to revolutionize international transactions. On Monday, the Russian Kremlin officially announced the creation of a new blockchain-based payment transfer system that would effectively empower the BRICS bloc to use their own currencies while avoiding the U.S. dollar and Western terminals such as SWIFT.
Man.
So it's happening quick. I'm telling you, they ain't playing. They ain't playing.
No, they're not.
I saw a video the other day that said this is what Russia is teaching their kids, their boys in elementary school, and it showed them boxing. Then it showed this is what China is teaching them, and it showed them doing military operations, learning how to stay in line and mind and all this kind of stuff in elementary. And it showed North Korea, and it showed all these people what they're doing with their kids, and it said, and this is what America's doing with their kids, and they're walking in, and there's pride flags, and there's drag queens, and there's there's just really, quite frankly, very sick men looking at these little children, and all this, and that's how our kids are going in. Yeah. And is it any wonder that so many people are pulling their kids out of the public school system? But on top of that, Russia is saying, we're doing all this militarily. We're outpacing you in munitions. China's outpacing us in this and this and this.
Come on.
They got supersonic missiles. We don't have that, all that. And then on top of that, they're saying, you know what? We built our own currency. We started, you go do your NATO thing. We're going to start something called BRICS. And we're just going to forget all of y'all. You can go do what you want to do. We don't need your money. We don't need your people. We don't need anything. We're about to take over the world. That's what BRICS is.
Exactly. And it is like something, it's like a wave just going across the whole world. Slowly, maybe not even slowly, but one by one, these countries no longer want to do this international trade with the petrodollar. They want to use BRICS, a lot of them.
Yep.
Not all of them are being accepted into BRICS as quickly as they would like. But either way, they are turning away the dollar as a means of settlement for all of this trade.
Yes, they are. Yes, they are. I want to show y'all something, if I can get this to do right. Tomorrow night, y'all, tomorrow night, if you're watching this live, why is this not showing me the thumbnail? Why is it messing up on the right?
Hang on, this is good. You don't want to miss this.
This is good. This is crazy.
Very good.
What is happening? Well, it's messed up. There it is.
Here we go.
All right, so
Nice.
watch this right here.
Yeah.
Tomorrow night at 7 o'clock, y'all need to be watching this, y'all.
Please.
Dude, this interview was insane. We cover so much stuff. This show is an hour and 5 minutes long of us talking about aliens, UFOs, the Nephilim, giants, demons, underground bases, and how all that fits into Scripture. Bishop Alan DiDio has written a book, y'all, called Summoning the Demon. And he calls it that because it's based on when Elon Musk said, with AI, I think we have summoned the demon and we can't control it. We show you the video clip of when he said that. We got several video clips within it. Y'all, this is one of the best shows that The Big Picture has ever had. And you need to load this thing up, blow it up, get people to watch this, put it on your TV, invite people over, watch this. Tuesday night, if you want to watch it live, your live chat will be available and all that. Right here and on Rumble, Summoning Alien Demons,
This
y'all.
is going to be great.
And that is phenomenal.
Yes.
So we just got a few more stories to cover, but these are some big ones. Visa has now followed Amazon. Remember when Amazon was paying with Palm? Guess what Visa just rolled out this week? Visa introduces new era of payments with Palm scanning payment terminals. It simplifies the checkout process by using fingerprint and facial recognition, thereby reducing wait times and eliminating the need for traditional payment methods. We scroll down here and we see. I mean, come on. You will not buy or sell, if anything, unless it's on your hand or your forehead. Yeah, that's your palm. That's not the outside of your hand. But we don't know how that, I mean, that's the next step to it. You're paying with your palm. Forget somebody, well, I ain't putting no chip under my hand. I can tell you that. Well, guess what? With this technology, you don't have to have the chip. You just pay with your palm, your biometrics tied to the digital ID. But what happens when you're not a good boy or girl, and you put your palm over there and it scans your palm or scans your eye, and all of a sudden they say,
no soup for you.
No Snickers for you. What do you think about that, Sandy? That's Visa. That's not Amazon in their store. That's Visa rolling it out.
We don't like hearing that, but we shouldn't be too surprised. We all know where this is going.
Yes. And where's that? Tell me where it's going, Sandy. Where's it going?
It's going to the mark of the beast. It's going to total control.
The future of biometric payments is promising. It's always for your betterment and set to revolutionize the retail experience. You think? Yeah, I think it's going to revolutionize it. I really do. I think that's a good word for it. Well, you know what? I just hear something. Somebody's coming.
Oh, yeah.
Jimmy!
Hey, Uncle Jimmy!
It's the Supernatural AI Update. I have a new fancy background for you tonight.
Oh, yeah.
Got a little, I don't know what that is. It's just like, look across dimensions.
I'm going to call it blue ball lightning.
Oh, yes.
You ever seen ball lightning?
No, I haven't.
It's pretty cool.
Okay.
Can't see the ball, but I'm calling it blue ball lightning.
Okay. All right. So, all right. So here we go.
Here we go.
OpenAI, you can barely see that.
Boy.
Announces a new board lineup, new board members, Sandy.
Since that big coup?
And you're going to be so surprised who it is.
Okay.
Ryan Davis, senior editor, blah, 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 that wrote the article, says that OpenAI, of course, is the owner of ChatGPT, Sam Altman, all that happened with him,
Right.
has announced a refreshed board of directors and new governance structure following the recent turmoil that saw CEO Sam Altman ousted, briefly recruited by Microsoft, and then quickly reinstated at the AI research company. In a statement, OpenAI said Altman will rejoin the board alongside 3 new independent directors. Sue Desmond-Hellman, former CEO of
Ding, ding, ding.
the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. I don't even care about the one from Sony and the one from Instacart. Ladies and gentlemen, Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, they are at the center of all these, what they call them exercises, them tabletop exercises that they ran.
Vent 201.
Vent 201.
Yep.
They predicted the wham that we just went through, and they're predicting disease X that's coming. All these things, all hosted by, sponsored by, produced by the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation.
Wow.
And now the former, not just an employee, but the CEO of the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation is now on the board of directors of the most powerful AI company in the world.
This article didn't use the word coup, but isn't that basically what happened?
Absolutely it is. And look, a coup by Bill Gates.
Yeah.
Even though he's not named as being on the board, he's on the board. You understand?
Yes.
If the former CEO of his foundation's on the board, he's on the board.
So let's break this down of how this happened with Sam Altman and this company going back, what do you think, 3 months or so?
Yeah.
4 months, something like that?
Well, it hasn't been that long, according to this article. It seems like that, but it says the board shakeup follows a period of upheaval, brief firing last month. That's how fast things are moving. Prompted an employee petition and public backlash over governance concerns. And the board announced the adoption of important improvements.
That's not when Sam Altman was initially fired.
He was fired about a week before that. So I don't know.
I think it was longer than that. But either way, they had a little demonstration.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, they did. That's what it was. It was a demonstration.
He was super excited and was ready to go forward. And the other members of the board were like, no, we've got to stop this. We got to shut this down right now. We need to evaluate what's going on. This is moving too fast. And he's like, no, you idiots.
Yeah, we could make so much money.
We got to go full steam ahead. So they fired him.
Yep.
But he comes back with the backing of Bill Gates, although they don't really say that at that point.
Right.
And he has a coup.
He comes back to being the CEO.
Yeah.
His president that believed in him was the only one that was for him, came back as president. And now the former CEO of the Gates Foundation.
But these other people that did not, they were like, no, we need to put the brakes on.
They're gone.
Get rid of them. They're gone.
They're gone. That's a coup. That is absolutely cool. You can't call it anything else but that.
So, yeah.
Yeah. So here's what they got upset about. Time magazine. U.S. must move decisively to avert extinction-level threat from AI, government commission report says. The United States government, this is dated March 11th, okay, of this week. That's today.
That's today.
That's today. The U.S.
This week of today.
This just
Did you hear that?
Breaking news.
It's this week of today.
This week of today. The U.S. government must move quickly and decisively to avert substantial national security risks stemming from AI, which could, in the worst case, cause an extinction-level threat to the human species. This is our government saying this. Current frontier AI development poses urgent and growing risk to national security. The rise of advanced AI and AGI, artificial general intelligence, has the potential to destabilize global security in ways reminiscent of the introduction of nuclear weapons. Whew. So, I mean, the article just goes on and rehashes that over and over, but it basically is saying what we're saying at the end of every one of our shows almost every week. Yeah. More and more people are saying, y'all, we're doomed. If we don't find a way to stop this, there's going to be no stopping this. Well, and I think there's probably no stopping.
What I'm already doing and saying is, hey, you know, that great moment with Sam Altman, that's when we really should have done something. I mean, we should have done something before then, but definitely at that moment, we didn't make the right decision.
Yep, that's right. That's right. We have one more article that you don't need to miss. This is going to be our final article, but let me tell you something. This article that we're about to show you further shows you that the government is getting ready to fully roll out some things that they've been denying, that they've been saying is not real, but disclosure is on its way. And think about how all these roads are converging.
Yeah.
I mean, think of all the things that are happening in this world. They're all converging. But watch this. Here's the thing. Don't let it grip you in fear.
Yeah.
They're all converging in a way that we already knew they was going to. Okay, the Bible tells us what's going to happen in the end times. But it says, look up, for your redemption draweth nigh. Now, before we show you that one more, don't leave. We got to remind you one more time to go to LarryRagland.com, LarryRagland.tv. If you go to LarryRagland.tv, take you to the same website. A part of our website has all of our archive shows, and you see that show that's coming up with Alan DiDio. It's already there, getting ready for you. All the ways that you can become a partner with us. You can see what we've done with the Epic Times. You can watch all 13 episodes of our television show that's about to be on Faith TV going all around the world. It's just amazing. Get a copy of our book. You can go to our merchandise store there. I saw many people are wearing their shirts. We ain't woke, but we're certainly awake. We have I See Greatness in You, many different types. All of that's on our website. Go there, join our email list, be connected, because there's going to be ways that we can only talk through email about some things because they're going to shut us down otherwise. But this last news article, here we go, of the night is this. The Pentagon UFO report comes out this week, and they found no alien evidence. But watch what this guy says. If the United States will not fess up, other nations will.
Wow.
It goes on to say the Pentagon report said many claims of alien visits and UFO sightings were misidentification. There's the famous ones that we've come to know and love. and this is just, I mean, they should have come out and said, we found a little bit of evidence. Okay, we're investigating a few things. When the government comes out and says these words, we found no evidence of aliens, alien technology, or secret government-run reverse engineering programs. The aggregate findings of the USG investigations to date has not found even one case of a UAP representing off-world technology, which was released Friday, and authentic sensitive national security programs were mistaken with UFO programs. The AARO or ARROW has no evidence of the USG reverse engineering narrative provided by interviewees and have been able to disprove the majority of the interviewees' claims, although some claims are still under evaluation. Now, Jeremy Corbell, you know that name, an investigative journalist and pivotal figure in the fight for UFO transparency, told Fox News Digital in an exclusive statement, if the United States will not fess up, other nations will. The reason the ARROW was formed in the first place was because of the mishandling of the UFO problem by our government agencies in the past. It was instated to address the UFO reality, to cover up as a defense against the dangerous and real possibility of strategic surprise. The historical review of the attempt to rewrite history and obscure the basic fundamental facts about the UFO phenomenon. So, that being said, what is your thought, Sandy? Do you feel better about the fact that the government says that there is nothing to anything anyone is saying?
Yeah, we need to wrap this up and go home. You're all safe. Everything's fine.
All good.
Look, I think the phrase that they can't control the phenomena, so they try to control the narrative, applies here. They know they ultimately can't control what these things are going to do. So the cover-up has worked fabulously for many decades, but it's falling apart presently. But they're still grasping and clutching at being able to hold on to the narrative. And I think that that is going to collapse as well. And what he is saying about these other countries, I agree with. I think for decades, we were able to pay off and control these other countries, what they would say, what they would release, what they would confirm to their own citizens, as well as other people in other parts of the world. But they no longer have the confidence in us, the money or the threats or whatever we've done in the past are no longer working. And these people are ready to put it out there, what's happened, what's going on now, what they have. And they're tired of us telling them what to do and trying to control them.
My God. Well, I can't even put nothing on that. That was too good right there. That was good stuff, baby. I'm proud of you. And you know what? That's why if you have questions, that's why you need to watch this show. Because one of the questions that I asked Bishop DiDio that he covers in his book extensively, what is an alien? Point blank, I ask him, are UFOs real and what are they? Point blank, ask him from his research.
Hey, I agree with James Shrimp Fajitas. You got to get an interview with Timothy Alberino on this show.
Yeah, if anybody
we
knows
totally agree.
We're working on that. We're trying our best to get him on here.
Yes.
But I'm going to tell you, though, Timothy Alberino, there's nobody like him. L.A. Marzulli, want to get him on here too, nobody like him. And I believe both of them are coming. But don't rest on Alan DiDio. This man has put out a book that is phenomenal. He's brought the receipts, y'all.
Could have been tremendous.
And look, he ain't no UFO expert. He's a preacher of the gospel. Yes. He is a man of God. He has approached this from the biblical perspective. You need to be watching this show and load it up. I mean, let's blow this up as the biggest show we've ever had.
Yes.
Tomorrow night live, if you're watching this live right now, Thursday night is 7 p.m., March 12th, right here, Central Time. Summoning alien demons.
Very good
Sandy,
work.
Great show tonight. You're beautiful as usual.
Oh, you're beautiful, baby.
Oh, yeah.
And our friends out there are even more beautiful.
You are beautiful. We love
guys.
our Big Picture family, y'all. We just love it. You hadn't already smashed that like button, smash it now.
Yes, please.
And be with us tomorrow night and Wednesday night and Thursday night. Think about this. We got Tuesday night, Wednesday night Bible study, and then Thursday night
Kingdom
Intelligence
Report. Soon will be 7 nights a week. No, just kidding.
No.
Just kidding.
Love y'all. God bless you. We ain't woke.
Thanks, Alicia, for that super chat.
Thank you, Alicia.
Woo!
But we are certainly
awake.